Alright, while we're talking about the timeline, I want to cover switch layers real quick. Over here you can create what's called a switch layer. And a switch layer is a folder that contains other layers, and you can switch back and forth between all the layers that are in the folder. So I just created this switch layer, and then I put this layer inside of it. And anytime you want to put a layer inside of another layer, you just click it and then drag it, and it will highlight that layer, and you'll see the red line that shows you where you're putting it. Alright, so we created this layer. Now let's say I want to make a square. Alright, I got my square. Now I'm going to create another vector layer, which is also inside of the switch layer. And you can see my first layer disappeared. The reason it disappeared is this isn't like a group. A group or a bone you can put a bunch of layers inside of, and it's going to show every layer. They're just grouped within that bone. But a switch layer, you're not only grouping everything together inside of it, but you only have the option of showing one thing at a time. So I'll demonstrate. I'll create a triangle. Alright, so now I have the square, the triangle. We'll create another one. And you don't have to stick with just vector layers inside of here. You can actually you could come up here and put in a group layer that contained other layers. You could put in a bone layer, another switch layer. Any of these things up here you can put in there, but in fact images too. And images are great for this because you can create body parts and stuff inside of GIMP. And if you don't know what GIMP is, it's just it's like a free Photoshop program, not from the makers of Photoshop, but it's freeware and it does almost everything that Photoshop does. But you could create your body parts in PNG files with a transparent background and then use them in here. And it can be a lot quicker for somebody who's used to using a program like that. But anyway, alright, so we've got 3 layers. I'll do a circle. Alright, so we got these 3 layers in our switch layer. Now if I want to switch between the layers and set keyframes in the timeline, let's go to 1 second in. Click on 1 second. Now I want to switch from circle to one of the other layers. A lot of people think you just come over here and click the new layer. But as you can see, if I click layer 2, I haven't set a keyframe over here. The way we set keyframes, there's 2 ways of doing this. One, we right click on the actual switch layer folder and you'll see the check marks. Now we click whichever layer we want. So I'll switch to layer 2 by left clicking it. Alright, now notice I just set a keyframe. So this is going to switch from circle to that. Okay, and the reason it's a circle is because that's what it is on frame 0. When you create it, it just is the uppermost layer. So if you can't figure out why something's starting on a certain layer, you can always go in when you create it and just check what you want. Alright, but I set a keyframe on frame 24, so it switched to triangle. We'll go to frame 48, 2 seconds in. Alright, now let's say I wanted to switch. There's another way of doing it, and that's to come over here to the switch layer icon, click it, and then up here you'll see it says active child, layer 2. We can switch which one is active. We can switch it to layer 1 just by clicking from the drop down menu. Okay? Alright, so in case you're wondering why you would use a switch layer folder, you would use one for your character's hands or his eyes. You're going to need his hands to switch from one shape to another during your animation. You can't have the same hand. You know, if he's making a fist, you can't have the fist showing through the whole thing. You want to switch to an open hand or have him pointing or whatever. So you would put all of your different hands inside of your switch layer folder and then switch between them as your character's moving his arms around. Same thing with the eyes or other body parts.